It was a dark and stormy night. Halloween was upon us. The wind howled, and the rain beat down on the roof of the small house. Inside, a young girl named Sarah sat by the fire, reading a book. She was home alone, and she was starting to get scared. The cemetery was close by, she thought. Could that be where the sound was coming from? Then, suddenly, she heard a noise outside. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The noise came again, this time closer. Sarah got up and went to the window. She pulled back the curtain and looked outside. Suddenly, she heard a noise outside. She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. The noise came again, closer this time. Sarah got up and went to the window. She pulled back the curtain and looked out. There, in the middle of the yard, was a figure. It was tall and thin, and it was wearing a black cloak. The figure raised its head, and Sarah saw that it had no face. Sarah screamed and ran back to the fire. She huddled in a chair, shaking with fear. The figure stood outside the window, watching her. Sarah didn't know what to do. She was all alone, and there was no one to help her. She closed her eyes and prayed for the figure to go away. After a few minutes, the figure turned and walked away. Sarah watched as it disappeared into the darkness. She sat there for a long time, too scared to move. Finally, she got up and went to the door. She opened it and looked outside. The yard was empty. The figure was gone. Sarah took a deep breath and went back inside. She locked the door and closed the curtains. She was safe, but she knew that she would never forget what she had seen that night. The next day, Sarah's fears remained. He shuddered every time he thought of the figure. He told a friend what happened. His friend didn't believe him and said he was trying to scare her. Sarah didn't believe it. She knew what she saw that night and believed that the figure was real. Sarah couldn't take it anymore. He begged his friend to help him. His friend took him to a witch doctor. The sorceress listened to Sarah's story and decided to help her. The wizard came to Sarah's house. He cast a spell and summoned the figure. When the figure appeared, the wizard became angry with him. He forced the figure away from Sarah and never to harm her. The figure bowed to the wizard and disappeared. Sarah was relieved. He was no longer afraid. The end.